What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Sailor Turn Gamer, and we are back in the building, coming at you with another Anthem video. We know the in-game activities are free play, legendary contracts, and strongholds, but the true carrot on the stick is loot, and it's still in need of rework. Today, I wanted to talk about some loot rework ideas. I was reading some stuff while combing through Reddit a few days ago, and I got a little inspired. And so because of that, I wanted to highlight some ideas because I strongly believe that these ideas deserve to be shined on and can create more positivity within this game and possibly spark changes for the game. So I wanted to highlight those things for change. Also, I wanted to talk about some things that could be possibly added to the marketplace to add more depth to it while giving us players something to look forward to and something to spend our coins on. Stay here and you'll be officially up to date on the latest in Anthem, ranging from patch notes, news and updates, community Q&A roundups, educational videos, and much more. If you enjoy the video, please be sure to give it a like and a share, and join the fleet by hitting that sub button. Oh, and while I'm at it, in the process of making this video, we also found out about a posting that happened today from Hudson, the general manager of BioWare. He talked about the post-launch update for Anthem. He went on and talked a little bit about that, and I'm going to read a little bit about that later on in the video, so stay tuned for that as well. And without further ado, let's get into the talk. Alright, so in order to begin talking about loot, we first need to talk about luck. There's no way around it. Luck needs to go, or at least it needs to become less required when creating a build. It takes away from fully optimizing whatever build you're aiming for, because over the usage of always needing luck to optimize your build, it just takes away weapon damage and reload speed and just so many other things. There are plenty of options that BioWare could take in order to substitute not having luck as an option on gear. I talked about one in a previous video. If you're interested in that, be sure to click the card on the top right. The video goes on to talk a little bit about missions or quest-based styles of obtaining temporary weekly buffs to the already 100% base luck that we have as freelancers. It's an interesting system that I believe would also allow us to have more activities to log in as far as that daily and weekly grind and make it a part of that rotation. I think it's a great idea. We need to shine more light on that, and I'm curious on what you guys think. So be sure to click on that card, and I'll also put a video link in the description below. I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on that possible idea for a transition of luck. Also, along with that, I have another idea that I was thinking about doing with luck, and today I want to talk about that option. Luck, along with some other statistical categories that exist in the game, they can basically be summed up as passives. The reason why I say passives is because I believe most of the community, or I'll speak for myself. I believe that there are some perks within the game that are not as prominent as other perks in the game. For example, just to throw some things up in the air, things like lower thruster delay or increased thruster time. And I'm not saying that they're bad, I'm just saying that they're not as important as other things like elemental damage or all-around damage or reload buffs or reload speed or magazine size. It's like I would much rather have those things as my primary and secondary stats to allow me to do more damage and survive and increase my survivability throughout these Grandmaster tiers than getting a drop that has like 2 slots of luck. Luck is great, but it could be utilized so much better than it. Or getting a drop where getting a legendary and I'm getting like 50% thruster speed. It's like I would much rather have something else. Now I don't want these things to go away. That's where this idea comes into place. Considering that we only get 4 inscriptions on our gear, and there's tons of inscriptions that aren't worth rolling, taking those off and adding a new category to the gear system that we already have, and labeling them as passives will not only help further build diversity, but assist in a focused and targeted gear grind as well. Basically, the entire concept of our Javelin is to become legendary. And the way we do that is by taking our gear and increasing its power through a steady and consistent grind. Adding a passive category to the gear system that we already have, evolve the power fantasy that we already have, and it'll take it to a whole new level. This idea would be a great thing to add to components, seeing that there's supposed to be things that you equip to your gear to make you a more powerful javelin. Imagine rising in ranks, going from a common javelin, leading your way up to a masterwork javelin and eventually a legendary javelin. You would think that as your javelin rises in its status and its reputation and it begins to look cooler and have stronger gear items and weapons, that your components are also increasing, and it only makes sense for your components to, like, wow, now I have faster thruster speed, or now I have an increased delay, or just things like those that should be passives. It only makes sense that it's possible for those to roll on your components. Think about that. I think it's a great idea. Yeah. Moving on. Now we know that we're getting Elysian caches pretty soon, and with that, I wanted to talk about another idea for some things that we can do with it. Of course, the basic function of the keys, for those of you that aren't familiar with that, the keys are designed to open designated chests at the end of strongholds, and when you open those chests, you're basically going to get a special reward. That could be something 1 out of 100, for example, where you would get something in addition to the loot that you're already getting by using one of the keys that you achieved from doing a various mission or whatever you have to do to get that key. My thought is that another function of the keys could be to continue using them for the currency that they are, but I thought it would be cool to just take a second and imagine this. We all want legendaries. They're the best thing in the game. And I think it would be kind of fun and really cool to add those to the marketplace. Hear me out here. But at random, and add 9 legendaries. Let me go on and explain that a little bit more. So I would want to add 9 legendaries to the marketplace and add them to a rotation every Friday that we could get exchanged for a certain amount of Elysian keys. The way this will work is that these items could only be got or bought with the keys. No cash, no coins. You can only get them with your Elysian keys. And the reason why there would be 9 is because you would have 1 random ability for each class. So that's 4. And then you would have 1 random component for each class. That's 8. And then you have 1 weapon. Each of those being random legendaries. Think of this as like a Xur-like system, similar to Destiny. Each week when you decide to log in, you're like, hey, do I want to use my keys for more Elysian rewards and the possibility of more random legendaries and stuff like that? Or are you logging in, going to the marketplace, and it's Friday and you're like, oh man, I'm about to start my weekend off, and I see this really cool legendary that I like, and it got some perks that, hey, they may not be the best perks, but this week, the perks that are here, I like them, and they work for my build. I think that would be a pretty cool system for you to be like, okay, it only costs 10 keys. I would rather spend my 10 keys that I earned this week on this particular legendary component for my interceptor because it's cool, and I know I can get it here, and I enjoy that. I think that would be a cool addition to the marketplace. Not only will it add depth to the marketplace, it would continue to add a creative purpose for the Elysian keys. I really think the Elysian keys and the Elysian cast system can be a really great thing to add to the game, not only for strongholds, but I think this system can be implemented in a variety of ways. I've gone on to talk about that too as well in previous videos, and I think there's so much potential in adding that to the marketplace for a Xur-like system. I think it would be pretty great, and I think it would be really, really exciting overall. The last thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is the post-launch update that we got from Casey Hudson. Like I was talking about earlier, he's the general manager of BioWare, and literally as I'm making this video, I found out about the article that was posted today, and I wanted to go on to talk a little bit about it. I don't want to go in too much, but I'll leave the article in the description below as well, so you guys can check that out if you are curious on the article as well. But to kick the article off, just to talk about it a little bit, Casey went on to talk about how it's been a rough launch, and it's been a lot rougher than expected. Those of us that are aware that we know the launch hasn't really gone the way that any of us would have liked it to go. He went on to talk about how he plays the game as well, and that he's really excited for some of the in-game things that they're working on. So, as we move through this most difficult period of launching a new game and IP, we're also working on things that will really show what Anthem is capable of. A series of world events, new story content, and new features that all builds towards the Cataclysm later this spring. Now, this image, I'm assuming this is a sneak image for story content. But what I would really like to see is that this image plays a major part in free play. Those of you that have been tuning in to Sailor Turn Gamer, you guys know that I want and I feel as though Anthem should lean heavily on free play. Because I feel as though the world of Bastion, the world that we have in free play, is so great that it needs to be added on. Like, content needs to be added on free play. So my hope is that if this is indeed new story content, I would love to see a series of new world events that they're discussing based around whatever this is. I would love to see, I'm assuming this could possibly be a stronghold. I would love to see maybe a new enemy variation to the ones that we already have based on this. I think that there are so many possibilities that we could actually do with this. And the last thing I wanted to talk about from the article is the fact that he talked about the feedback system. We also continue to listen to your feedback with more improvements to the in-game loot and progression, game flow, and stability and performance coming soon. So there's a lot more work that we intend to do. This is all a learning experience for us. And as we work to make sure the game is improved and perfected, we can't emphasize enough how much we appreciate you staying with us, especially because the next stage of things in the game are going to be really exciting. And when he says that, he's talking about the Cataclysm tease that we were just discussing earlier. I wanted to highlight the fact that he did go on to talk a little bit about the Cataclysm tease that we're getting and show some sneak images, and the fact that they just want to continue to say thank you for us tuning in and giving our feedback. I feel as though positive feedback is the best thing for the game. If you do enjoy playing the game, then there's no need to bombard them with negative feedback. I say that not to say, hey, don't tell them what they don't already know, but I say that to say a lot of the negative feedback that they're getting is stuff that they already know. So I feel as though it's best to let them know things that are positive, like, hey, this is the issue, but this is what I think could make it better. That's the whole purpose of what I want to do here at Sailor Turn Gamer. Is to say, hey, these things need to change. Here's my ideas on how this could change. And for people that want to tune in and listen to this particular type of advice or ideas, to just spark even more ideas, because ideas spark change. So the fact that they're saying thank you and that they appreciate the feedback, it's a great thing for me to hear, and it should be a great thing for all of us to hear. But at this point, I just want to say, anyone who made it this far in the video, thank you. Just stay here for all things Anthem. I'm going to continue to do my best to cover everything about the game. And again, guys, I can't say thank you enough for making it this far in the video and enjoying the content that we create. I really, really mean it, and I appreciate it a lot. If anyone's new, please be sure to give the video a like and a share and join the fleet by hitting that sub button. It helps us grow, and it gives more people an opportunity to get a chance to hear the content that we create and continue spreading these ideas and positivity about a game that I think has so much potential, but a game that I also feel is already really, really fun. There's no other game out in the market like Anthem, and I think that that's a statement that all of us can agree on. Again, you guys enjoy the video, and until then, this sailor will be out in the open ocean. Peace.